Hello gang, Bola Itu Live special minggu ni kita bersama dengan sebuah legenda, sebuah ikon bola sepak pasukan Liverpool yang kini berada di Kuala Lumpur untuk aksi Battle of the Reds di antara gergasi ataupun legenda pasukan Liverpool dan juga Manchester United yang akan turun bertemu pada hujung minggu ini di Stadium Nasional Bukit Jalil. Saya bersama dengan Luis Garcia. Luis, first and foremost, thank you so much for taking the time to do this with us. You're quite familiar with Malaysia at this point already, aren't you?
Yes, thank you very much for coming. It's a pleasure always to come to this part of the world. We've been here many times. Actually, I was working with Astro a few years back. It's been a while, but yeah, it was a pleasure. And yeah, thank you for having me.
We're going to try and do something different here today, Luis.
Okay. No football, no tactics, right?
Not tactics, definitely. What we like to do on Bola Itu Live is that it's something that we've done with your ex-teammate before as well, John Arne Reese. The last time we met him at the launch event for this Battle of the Reds game, where we will give you a list of personalities and the description of these personalities, and you tell us a story about the first person that comes to your head.
Okay.
When we
do
do
my best.
so we'll straight away start without wasting any time. The first one, the first personality or the first character trait is the leader. Someone who's charismatic and decisive, and they usually take charge in various situations. Who's the first person that comes to your
Gerrard.
head? No hesitation.
If all of them are gonna be like this, that's fantastic. No, but I mean, but I think that's kind of the first player personality character that comes to your head if you've been with him on a dressing room. You realize about that in the first moment. I was lucky enough to, when I arrived there, to Liverpool to be under his wing. He looked after me. I look after my family. Always trying to help me to adapt to a different life, different culture, different language, different food, different everything. And he helped me so much out of the football. That's what we are talking about. Is Bola Itu Life. So and of course into the dressing room, as you can imagine, he was always the first player to work, the first player to fight, the first player always to give his opinion when things were not going well or when the things were going well. So I think that's a true leader. Tried to lead by example, and he was the one.
I mean, on a personal level, I will always just remember Istanbul and just what he looked like on the pitch in the second half, coming out with that sort of,
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I think Istanbul is an iconic moment for the Liverpool history. But if you go a little bit, just a little bit back for when we play against Olympiacos, it's got one again. And then further forward, you remember the FA Cup.
Yeah.
So if you start looking at some very important moments of Liverpool's history, is always right there. And of course, there are those iconic moments, but there are so many more that we were lucky to be part of and share with him into the dressing room, into the day-by-day training with him, playing with him, and having a life or share some moments of his life.
I'm going to jump into the next personality right away. So it's Steven Gerrard for the leader. The next one, and this is a fun one.
Okay.
It's the rebel. Someone who is non-conformist. They always challenge norms, and they are constantly breaking the rules.
Bellamy.
Oh, yeah, that's a feisty character.
He's a special character. Let's call it this way. It's a special character. I think that he's a player with so much talent, so many abilities. He's a fantastic striker, quick, very, very fast. I mean, one of the quickest players that I ever seen with a fantastic end product. But he had those ups and downs. I had the chance of playing on the field with him, and he wanted the ball always in the right moment, always in a specific situation. He liked to play on the spaces, and it was those ins and outs. Let's call it this way. It was one day it was black, the other day it was white, the other way it was gray. So you needed to understand his personality. He was a great guy, but he has his moments. So I would say that.
But on his day, at his absolute best,
Unstoppable.
must have been terrifying to play against for any defenders.
Yeah. I mean, the moment that you leave a space on your back, you're done. You're done because he knew when to use it. He was, even that he was very quick. He was always trying to play on that line. He it was difficult to get him into offside. Even we play against some teams that they were trying to bring that high line to try to make him get into the offside, and he has the ability to always make that round, that circle to get in the right position and arrive to the right space. So, yeah, it was unstoppable. And again, on the run, it was one of the quickest in the league.
He almost had an aerodynamic structure, low center of gravity, the body slightly hunched.
Yeah, big leg.
Yeah,
He
when
was
he
strong.
ran,
He was a strong kid.
Incredible character.
It was good. Yeah, it was a very special. And we needed something like that at front, some character, personality that at the moments there were rough situation, he was right there, just ready for the challenge.
So that's the rebel, Craig Bellamy. The next one is the intellectual. Someone who's very curious and analytical, and they're always driven by a thirst and hunger for knowledge.
Bolo Zenden.
Oh,
Bolo Zenden. Bolo Zenden, I think he can speak 7 different languages easily.
incredible.
Easily, if I can recall well, Spanish, Catalan, French, German, Dutch, English. 6, and I think there is a funny story that because we knew that in this kind of in Christmas, you know that you got this, I don't know how you call it, you give a present to someone that he doesn't know.
Yeah.
How is it called? I can't remember anyway.
Is it Secret Santa?
Secret Santa,
Yeah.
Secret Santa, that's the one. Secret Santa. We gave him a Turkish dictionary. Yeah, the day after, he came and started giving us some words and some sentences in Turkish. So it was fantastic. So yeah, he's a special guy, very intellectual, and now he's working as a coach in the youth back in the Netherlands, and he was a fantastic guy. I had the chance of playing with him in Barcelona and also in Liverpool, and yeah, he's another special personality.
You had the chance of playing with him in 2 separate parts of his life.
Yes.
What were the differences of the Barcelona version of Zenden and the Liverpool version?
When he arrived to Liverpool, he was more experienced, of course. He was already through. He went into Middlesbrough first, then he signed for Liverpool. In Barcelona, I was also very young. I was young, but he was also very young. I think we are like 2-3 years older one to each other. He's a little bit older than me. But when I arrived to Barcelona, because I was very young, I could see him. I mean, my first debut in Barcelona's jersey is in the Super Cup of Spain, and I changed with him. He was on the field, so it was the first time that I played for Barcelona, and yeah, I could see him as I looked at me back then like a kid that he was coming from the academy, and Bolo Zenden was a first team player.
What an incredible play. I mean, I'm getting a real sense of throwback with some of these names
That's
here.
good, that's
Zenden,
good, that's
wow. Haven't heard that in a while. The next character is the Joker. Someone who's humorous, light-hearted, and they very often use humor to navigate their life and also their career as a professional footballer.
Pepe Reina. I'm sure that is not the first time you heard about that, but it's totally true. I mean, Pepe is one of those players that you need into the dressing room, because he can find in the toughest moment, in the worst situation, when you need to a fresh air, when you need to change the subject to try to don't put more pressure on the situation. He can bring that on the table. He's always in a great mood, always with a laugh, always singing, always bringing some music, always. And he's an amazing personality for that player.
You know what always fascinates me about jokers? Because from the outside, as football fans, when we look at football players, we always think about just how incredibly intense the experience must be as a footballer, because you're constantly surrounded by press, by fans, there's a lot of pressure on your shoulders. So in that environment, if someone has the capacity to still look at life from a lighter way,
it's incredible. It's so neat. It's so needed because, like you said, you feel the pressure. Not always have good moments during a season. You go these ups and downs, so it's very difficult to navigate through them. And having a player like Pepe, for example, Pennant is also another one that they are always, when they arrive into the, we're talking about Bellamy, he was grumpy all the time, arriving in the morning. These guys, they just come, hey, how are you, with that fresh air that makes you smile. And then you approach anything that happens with a different way. So, Pepe Reina was fantastic. Amazing keeper, of course, but a great personality to have in the dressing room.
Pepe Reina, the Joker. The next personality is the perfectionist, someone who's detail-oriented with high standards, not just for themselves, but for others as well.
I'm going to go with Xabi Alonso. Yes, I think Xavi, now we can see why. But back then you could see that he was always analyzing what was happening, what it was needed, what the team needed, what the situation needed. He was always analyzing, always did calm, cool mood. And again, always analyzing, always wanting more, learning more about how to be more, how I could say, how it can be more effective when we're working in a 4-2-3-1 system that we used to play. Understanding, even when we were playing, he could come and say, listen, guys, we're playing 4-2-3-1, but instead of being open, just get closer. So he was always analyzing the situation and always have a word on it and share it with the rest of the team. So, yeah.
That's always interesting to me, because one of my favorite things to ask footballers or ex-footballers like you is when you guys were playing, like when you look at someone like Xabi Alonso, now everybody knows he's an astonishingly good football manager, but you guys had the early access to him, and you know, was it something you were always able to see in him, that you knew at some point down the line this was a man that was destined to become a football manager at the highest level?
Yeah, you talked about it, but not in front of him maybe, or not telling, because when you're playing football, as a player, I mean, you never think about what are you gonna do next. Yeah. So it's like you never talk about it, because it's like it's gonna be there forever. They never think about telling to anyone you're gonna be a fantastic manager. Is like saying you're almost going to retire very soon. So that's, you never talked about that. But in the circle of Xavi, and I'm sure I know that Mourinho mentioned it and Pep Guardiola mentioned it. Everybody knew that if he decided to go to that road, to that path, I think that he was going to do well, because he understood the game from the inside. He was a player who was always controlling the game, always talking, always analyzing the situation, and he had some of the best coaches in the world. So you can get the best one from some, and what to do from some, and what not to do from the other one. So I think he's got a fantastic mix, and now with his ability to analyze, is like checking and making his perfect career. And I think he's doing a great job this year. When we heard that he was staying at Leverkusen, everybody understood. At least I wanted that. I want to see him becoming the Liverpool manager one day, but not right now. I want him to do what he's doing. I knew it. At the back of my head, I knew that he will decide to stay, because he's doing step by step, becoming a better and better manager.
One last character or personality trait. The last one is the introvert, someone who's very reserved and reflective, and they recharge through alone time.
On this one, I'm gonna go to Steve Finnan. Steve Finnan, he was a very shy guy, very quiet, but what a player. I mean, what a player. I was lucky to have him behind my back every single game during that 2004-2005 season. And it was incredible. His assists, his work rate, he was incredible. He had both feet. He could cross with the right, with the left. It was magnificent. It was one of the most underrated players that I've seen, and he didn't have the credit probably that he deserved, because he never got injured. He was playing every single game, 90 minutes, full flow, up and down, box to box that we call it, and yeah, I think it was, again, we never heard a bad word from him. He wasn't never on the highlights or on the newspapers or anything. and I think he deserves more people talking about him.
You know how in the modern game, there's a sense of flashiness to fullback. Fullbacks these days are, they're a bit flashy, they're expensive, they're highly regarded. But there was a period in time where fullbacks were essentially Mr. Dependables. And Steve Finnan was definitely one of the most dependable football players.
Definitely. I mean, he was, again, now we have all these Cancelo and Alexander-Arnold and so many players who not only bring the defensive aspect, but also the attacking side. And Steve Finnan had everything. Everything. He could score goals because I think he scored 3 or 4 goals that season. I cannot even remember how many assists, but the work rate was incredible, and again, it was fantastic.
Absolutely incredible. Steve Finnan then for the introvert, Mr. Dependable as well. Well, that wraps it up really for this quick chat with Bola Itu Live. Thank you so much for taking the time. We really hope that you enjoy Malaysia, enjoy the game. Most importantly, enjoy the stadium as well. Malaysians absolutely adore the Bukit Jalil National Stadium, and we can't wait to see you have a kick around.
Yeah, hopefully. I heard that there is a lot of people coming, so anyone who can join us, we are going to try to do our best. Trust, there's going to be a few tricks and drills and passing, and I'm sure there are a few goals. Yeah. So the most important is we're going to enjoy our time there. And again, a pleasure to be here in Malaysia again.
Thank you so much, Luis. Terima kasih kepada anda. Ini adalah Bola Itu Live bersama dengan Luis Garcia.